always say, oh, I don't know what to say. I get nervous, I, right? And that's when a lot of the things just start circulating in your head and you go down the rabbit hole. When you shift it and you make it about them, it changes. It's not about you. You're the one delivering the message. And one of the things I say before I go on stage or say something really big is I ask Source to use me as a vessel. I am just a vessel to deliver the message and whatever comes across, and knowing that it will resonate with the right people. And I am just a vessel. And I know it will impact the right people. But you got to know your audience and make it about them. And you have to think that if you don't, you have this burning message, you know it could help someone. But if you don't step up into your power, and you are nervous, you think you don't know what to say, think about them and all the people, the future people that you're not serving. You say you want to help, right? This is the number one thing that I hear from conscious speakers and people who want to make an impact. I just want to help people. By you not speaking your truth, you're holding yourself back. You're doing a disservice to yourself and to the future people that you are going to serve. Think about that. Because clarity is key. Right? I know, for example, for me, my audience is heart-centered, open-minded, conscious individuals, or people who are open-minded to these concepts. I know that people who are very, let's say on the other side, who don't believe in, who are very closed-minded, who don't believe in this language that I speak of consciousness and mindset, they're not my tribe, because you can speak to them, but if it's like speaking to a wall. Right? So if you're not clear on who your audience is and you're just like speaking to everyone, then it's not going to stick. It's just going to be noise, like wah, 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 because those people aren't ready and that's not your audience, right? So it's not going to connect. So that's why it's so important to really ask yourself, who do you serve? And this is the next activity. Ask yourself, who do you serve? With your message, who do you want to hear your message? And this is where it's an avatar exercise. This is something very common in marketing and when you want to find your target audience. I did do the breathing, but I didn't, this was before I meditated or knew the power of breath. I just like knew I wasn't breathing. I was like, but then the more you do it, the more you get used to it and you actually get excited about it. So I would get excited to be in front of the camera and speak and all that, but it's a muscle. Public speaking is a muscle. And the more that you have clarity on your message and the clarity of your purpose, you have more clarity on who you serve. It actually leaves less room for error in terms of like, oh, I don't know what to say. So clarity is key. And this is a big part of it, of your audience. And your audience is so important because you can have a great message, but if you deliver it to the wrong audience or an audience that doesn't resonate with you, it's going to clash, right? I highly encourage it. Another thing that will really help is you inhale, calm, exhale, worry. So think of that. Think of a word that you want to, especially before you go on stage. Think of inhaling calm, and you just repeat this in your head, this mantra, calm, exhale, worry. Inhale, calm, exhale, worry, and it'll help. Another practice is that before you go on stage, another thing that you can do is slowly walk up. You see a lot of people sometimes when they go, they're like, okay, it's time to go. And that energy, that frenzy, slow it down. Pause, and then instead of, what we end up doing is become like a deer in headlights and start looking at everyone, focusing. A good practice is to actually gaze, smize, gaze, and gaze all around. When you do that, that actually calms you and you prepare yourself. Instead of, and then you take a gasp, you have no air, so the air can't go into, and then that's what comes. So smize and gaze and like look at everyone. Who listens to podcasts here? Love it. Plug for Thriver Lifestyle Podcast, just FYI. But podcasts, let me just tell you, you are in their ear. On Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, the retention rate for someone is, well, on Twitter it's like what, 108 characters, and then on Instagram it's a swipe. You don't really retain them. But on podcasts, the average podcast lasts for 30 to 45 minutes. You retain people's attention for 30 to 45 minutes. That is impactful. Think about that. If you haven't considered a podcast as a platform, really start considering it. Yay! And who here has not spoken but knows that they have a message that they want to share and it's just burning inside of them and they want to get it out? Beautiful. And who here wants to create more impact, influence, and income with public speaking? All hands. And then who here knows that this is something they need to do? It helps with their business, with their brand, but it's just a calling. And they don't know what to speak yet about. You know, they don't have clarity, but they just know it's there. Beautiful. Purpose, passion, and prosperity. And remember all three. Because to create a holistic public speaking practice, to really have this holistic picture, you need all three. And that's why we broke it down so that by the end of this, have you had more clarity on what your message is? Have you had more clarity on who you serve? Have you had more clarity on, your topic so that you know where your audience is? Do you have more clarity on potential opportunities for stages and platforms? What's one action? So write this down. It's your last activity. What is one action step? You don't have to do all of it. Maybe your focus right now is the purpose part and you really still need to hone in on your message. Maybe you need to hone in on your audience. You really don't know who your avatar is. That's okay. What's the one action step? But maybe you already know that, but you want to go into passion. What's your 3 expert topics? Maybe that's really honing in on that. Maybe you're already on both and you're an experienced speaker and you already have all this and like, okay, it's prosperity. How do I get more? Start making a list of conferences that you can pitch to because you already have your assets. What is one action step? You don't have to do all of it. Maybe your focus right now is the purpose part and you really still need to hone in on your message. Maybe you need to hone in on your audience. You really don't know who your avatar is. That's okay. What's the one action step? But maybe you already know that, but you want to go into passion. What's your 3 expert topics? Maybe that's really honing in on that. Maybe you're already on both and you're an experienced speaker and you already have all this and like, okay, it's prosperity. How do I get more? Start making a list of conferences that you can pitch to because you already have your assets. So there's different, like I said, with that pyramid, that ladder, what stage are you in? And it's okay if you're in the very beginning and if you're later, there's always room for growth as you level up.